So we just saw a Monumental movie, and I want to know what you thought about the movie.
I liked it, and the light's bright. Really, really bright.
Okay, enough about that.
It definitely kind of got that, that idea of pilgrims wearing funny hats, just came over and didn't know how to do anything. They were kind of just wandering around, didn't really have a plan. When the fact was is that they had so much planned out, and they really got it. They got what God's plan for them was, and knew what to do with it. And they understood that just because obstacles get thrown in your way, those aren't telling you to stop. Those are just obstacles to make you stronger and to teach you lessons. And it just kind of got that whole idea of, it was maybe an accident or they just got lucky, and it really showed God's providence in His work and how He works through our lives and through families being at the root of everything and that kind of thing. So it was really cool. I liked it.
I have another thing to say, actually.
Okay, what do you want to say, Kiki?
Just when they said that, that the men and wives and children got separated, I don't think I could have let my husband do that, because, it's just amazing that they actually made that plan up, and then I didn't ever think that they would make it back together, but then they did. It's just amazing how God planned that for them to meet like that. And that storm went on for 3 days, and people still lived. 2 weeks, and still lived.
Casey, what do you think?
I had always heard when Bubba came back from school that one day he was saying that the people who signed what is it called?
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, the Declaration of Independence. That they were saying they weren't Christians, but if you look back and you study about the history of our country, then you figure out that there is a chance that they could have been Christians because they funded and paid for Bibles to be printed and put it into homes and schools and churches.
It's pretty awesome, right?
Right.
Is that blinding you if I put that in your face? Okay.
It was just encouraging that to see the hardships and the trials, and every time an obstacle got in their way, they didn't see it as, oh, this means we're not supposed to be doing this. They just knew, and I'm sure they knew this in their hearts just from knowing the scriptures like they did, that God has always used extreme circumstances to mold His people into what He wants them to be, and to instill the values and faith that will drive them through the hard times. Because if they had just set out for this new land and everything just went perfect, every plan worked out ideally, that doesn't build any strength, that doesn't build any faith, that doesn't give them what they need to push through the hard times. But when you're proverbial thrown into the fire and you come out unburned, even though that they did, they lost a lot of people, their families, their loved ones died, but they didn't let that slow them down. They knew from studying the scriptures that they had to do away with the tyranny and the corruption, and to truly set up a form of government in a country that their children could prosper freely in, and not be persecuted like they were in their home country.
Okay, Mom, what did you think about the movie?
So I thought the movie was awesome, and I think the biggest thing that I gained from this was just a reminder of what I always grew up being raised to do, which was the right thing. And I feel like forefathers, that's what they were doing. They were just trying to do the right thing. And it's an honor and a blessing to be a descendant of William Bradford and know that he came to this country with a vision for his generations, for his genealogy to prosper in the gospel. And here it is so many years later, and he has a granddaughter and grandson, greats, 15 and 16 greats in there that are still living for the gospel. And that's why he came, for generations to come. And so that's why I think that, you know, my family's here, and so we're here to do the right thing, and the right thing is to continue to do the right thing for generations. And so I thought the movie was awesome and great, and my husband has one more thing to say, so we'll turn it back to him.
One thing that Kirk said during the film that I found just profound, and I mean it could very easily just kind of go unnoticed, is that it's not, you know, the fact to get our country back on track and try to go back to where the roots started was, it's not going to start from the top down, having a, you know, Christian president, even though that would be a blessing, and have him change everything from the top down, because really that's what they came out of, was a top-down religious organization. But the fact that it needs to start in the home, it needs to start around the dinner table and work its way up, because that is what is really, in the past several generations, has just kind of fallen apart. The family just pretty much isn't a family anymore. They're just a bunch of different individuals who happen to live in the same house, and that's important, having that family cohesion centered around the Word of God and putting that first and foremost in your life.
Awesome. That's it.